So today we are going to be kind of doing some wrap up a little bit on the facial features and that sort of thing. I have a couple references that I'm going to be working from that'll kind of help me out. One, I have this guy here. We did change the head a little bit on that one, and then I have the original black and white drawing, but then I also printed out this one here that has a little bit more of the details that we're looking for as well. So I have a couple of different references that I'll be working from as I try to get this to work out for us. So the eyes, the other thing I needed to do is I mixed up some black paint in the various values that we have here. So we got the black, and then we have our various bits of gray. The beak in of itself is more of a black color, as are the eyes, and so we wanted to make sure we get those things happening for us. So let's dive into painting those sorts of things. I'm going to start out with the dark colors as always, so we're starting out with our black, and I think it'd probably be easiest to just go ahead and do the eyes. There is a little bit of a white area right around the outside of it, and we left that from our last painting, but all this you'll probably notice is mostly going to be black on that. We do have the little spot where we left the reflected light, and then we'll come back in and add those that light value around the eye as well. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and pop some of this black in here. Black is a pretty dry, it's not a very oily sort of a paint as you put it in there. I did paint with the pencil. I went in and did some of the details with that. I didn't so much on the feathers, but I did a little bit more with the eyes and that sort of a thing as we start to put those values in. So the darkest value first, and I'm going to move this around a little bit. Hopefully I won't stick my arm in anything to where I get goop all over everything. And then as this comes up, this is going to go out just a little bit here. And all the way up to there. So there shouldn't be any real white values on the top of the eye. So I got to go right up to the brown that's there. Okay, and so that's looking pretty good for the black on that one. Let me get my paper towel to clean this off real quick. And then we need to go to some dark grays. There are some dark grays in here that we have to account for. I think there's just a little bit of dark gray here right in the corner of the eye. Hopefully we'll be able to put that in there. And maybe down a little bit. A little bit of that, and I think maybe just a touch over here too. Just a little bit of a change on that one. Clean off my brush. Then we're going to come down here and let's go ahead and put maybe just a little bit of the medium gray here. It's mostly going to be the white here, and I think on one of them I did a lot of that with just the plain white as we had that. And I want just a touch so that can transition a little bit right there, and maybe a little bit right here. So as that comes down and around, we see that there's some light areas, but that light area is in shadow a little bit with the eye. Okay, so then we have our next lightest value. It's always good to go and change those values, and just a touch there, just a touch there on that. And then I'm going to come in for the white. And the white in and of itself, ooh, that's too gloppy. Needed a little bit sharper on that one. So as we come down in here, we can get that white just around the eye. Clean that off a little bit, still have too much of the other. Looks like we might have to go back over and get the inside again. Trying to get a nice sharp brush so that when I put this in here on the white, it is actually white and not glopping way outside the area. Looks like I got the white in. Now I got to now I got to kind of save the black here, huh? Just kind of push that around. And let's get some more white in the eye itself. The nice thing about the white part of the eye on that one that we have, the reflected light, it doesn't necessarily have to be any particular shape on that one. So I'm coming back in with just the dark, with the black once again, and trying to form that up just a little bit. Just so it looks a little more natural. On that. And then when you can't, sometimes you can't put just a real thin line in, so you have to build it up around it. So the thin white line that comes around here, I'm putting in the black to define this backside edge a little bit more, so it's a little sharper and cleaner. That's good. Now I got to come down here and this is this one here I think was mostly our brown, our darker brown, but we're going to use black in here to kind of tighten that up too. That's looking a little better, huh? Let's turn that around so I don't have to crank my head all sideways too far. Okay. Getting a little darker. I have to come back in with my brown and touch that up again too. And so that is pretty much, that looks pretty good for the eye, really, on what we have there. I think I want a little bit more of maybe this value coming up here. Like that. And we got to do the other eye too. The other eye over here, and it's all black in there. that way. And let's go back this way. And I'm just going to paint initially the whole thing black, like that. And then let's see if this will work. There is just a little bit of a reflected light in there. Maybe come down here, kind of like that. So I've scooped up a little bit of black paint, and I'm going to dab it right on top like that. Maybe something about like that. Okay, cool. So the beaky is very dark here at the tip. And so I'm going to get the black in. And it does have a little bit more of a hook to it. Now we might go for a smaller brush. I think I can get this one to work for us. So this part down here is pretty black. But once it starts coming up here, it's going to change values on us. I did get a little outside the lines of where I wanted to be with that. And then I also wanted this to have that, there's another reflected light right in there. And so if we can come into here, and there's another little bit of a hook that the bird has here. To the beak. Okay, let's transition that now a little bit. Right on the edge here, this is the next darkest value, or lightest value, I should say. Let's go to the medium gray. And then we want to transition that a little better, so we're going to do a little bit of blending. And a little more black in there, because it was getting too gray. And let's go to the light gray. Oops, that was the medium gray. I wanted the light gray. Let's turn this way. And this area right back over here is where his mouth is. That should be a lighter, the lightest gray. And let's move this back around just a little bit. Whoa! So we can blend that in a little. And then this is eventually going to blend into our white. And that part actually comes up a little bit, and then that is blending down there. So that's got to come up, that's got to blend down. Let's make our values transition a little bit better. Sometimes it's a little bit of work blending everything together. And this has a little bit of a shadow to it, and so that's, I'm just getting a slightly darker edge around that tip. There, and I'm just cleaning off the brush a little bit because there's a little bit of residue on there. Okay. Let's go get some more white. Might have to get my brush a little bit more clean than that, huh? Now there's another place I need to get the white. That was right here where I went over the edge a little bit. I don't remember if I actually got the white paint in there for this little part here. I don't think I did. And now let's corral it a little bit with our black paint. We wanted to make sure there was white paint in there as well as, and not just the gesso. Okay, now I don't really have a, let's see if this is going to work for me here. This is my my palette knife. I wanted just a little bit of a thin area right there. Because there is this tiny little crease in where his mouth is. get that in there. Guess I could use a toothpick or something like that too. This is not working as well as what I want. So let's do this. Let's do this. So make it so the brush the paint down here, so you have both sides, you're pushing it down, and so it has a real sharp edge on it. Maybe about like that. And then I needed, it's always difficult when you're doing real heavies there. This is the light gray, and doing the same thing. Make it so it's really sharp. Paint, 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 like that. Now there's one more part there. He has actually a nasal area where he breathes, like right in this area right here. And so I'm trying to decide whether I want that in the brown, or I want that in the black. And there's usually two, so it's right about in here. And so I'm thinking what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to take, and I'm going to do this gray right here, and I'm going to create just a little bit of a circle. Because it's darker on the outside edge. And then, let's see if I can get that pretty clean. It needs to have, I'm putting this in here, hopefully being able to layer it in there. Using the corner of the brush to tap just a little bit of the white on the inside, like that. Scoop up just a little bit more, so it's kind of like you scoop a little bit up onto your brush, and then you place it right on top of the other area. Okay, kind of like that. Okay, and then the last little piece on it is there is just a slightly darker area in there, and I'm going to go just a touch of black right on the tip of my brush. Off a little bit of black, maybe. Kind of like that. I will say that sometimes, I remember I was mentioning to a couple times, it's sometimes easier to have a black brush and then have a white brush, and so you don't have to change your colors on your brush. I think that's what I wanted right there. And so that's got the little bit of the breathing hole. The other one is on the other side, would be down here where you wouldn't see it. And so that's a little bit of what we're looking for on doing the beak, and also the beak and the eyes on that with the gray on those. We'll do the background at some point in time in the future next on that one. That was a little bit of work because we had a little bit of a thicker area that we were trying to deal with, and a thicker brush in a smaller area. Anyway, thanks.